Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Welcome back to my channel, Mr. Mahmoud channel. In this session, we will discuss poetry. That is the second poem for grade 9, Blow, Blow. It was written by William Shakespeare. William Shakespeare, he was one of the greatest dramatists in the English literature. He wrote a lot of plays, poems, and essays. He was born in 1564 and died in 1616. His plays are translated into many languages. This poem is a song taken from Shakespeare's play As You Like It. In this play, the lawful duke was driven out of his kingdom with some of his faithful followers. One day, while they were all having a meal, amidst one of the duke's followers sang that song, which shows the bitter feeling of the duke and all his followers against evil, wickedness, and ungratefulness. The main idea of the poem. The poet says that however painful and harmful the weather conditions were, they are so kind if compared to the ungratefulness of the people near and dear to us. The thankfulness of a brother or a close friend is more painful than the bitterness of bad weather or rough conditions. The winds, the rain, the bitter cold are smaller evils if compared to the greater illness in the heart caused by a brother or relative. Let's see and read the first stanza. And as you will see that the language of the poem is in the old language, or it was called the Shakespearean language. Blow, blow, thou winter wind, thou art no so unkind as man's ingratitude. Thy tooth is not so keen, because thou art not so seen. Although thy breaths be rude, hey ho, sing hey ho, unto the green holly. Most friendship is feigning, most loving mere folly. Then hey ho, the holly, this life is most jolly. Let's see the vocabulary. As I told you that the language that the written that is used in that poem is the old language of the 16th century, or the Shakespearean language. So let's see the meaning of the words. Blow, become harder. Ingratitude, thankfulness or ungratefulness. Tooth, harm, bite. Breath, wind. Rude means rough, biting, painful. Hey ho, expression of joy. Green holly, the green wood. Mere, just, only. This life, life in the forest. Thou, this is the old language. You, art, you, are. Unkind, cruel. thy, your, keen, sharp, not seen, invisible, feigning, false, folly, foolishness, jolly, pleasant. These are the meaning of the words and the vocabulary of that are in the first stanza. Now let's see the paraphrase of the first stanza. In the first stanza, the poet asks the wind to blow hard. He says that the cold and strong wind is much kinder than ungrateful friends. He added sorrowfully that a very rough wind could not hurt as much as the rudeness of mankind. And I want you, my dear students, to keep the meaning and the paraphrase of that first stanza by heart, because you will be asked to paraphrase some of the lines. And this is one of the most famous questions in the exam: paraphrase the following verses or lines. Now we will see more about extra explanation of the stanza so as to understand the meaning of the first stanza. The poet asks the wind to blow hard. He says that the cold, strong, biting wind is much kinder than ungrateful friends. He says that most friendship is false and deceiving, and loving is just foolishness. The poet invites people to come back to nature, where life is so simple and pleasant. There is nothing to worry about or fight for. Stanza 2. Freeze, freeze, thou bitter sky. Thou dost not bide so nigh, as benefits forgot. Thou, though thou the waters warp, thy sting is not so sharp, as friend remembered not. Hey who sing, hey who, unto the green holly, most friendship is feigning, most loving mere folly. Then hey who, the holly, this life is most jolly. Now let's see the meaning of the important vocabulary in the second stanza. Freeze here means become icy or cold. Bitter, sharp, painful. Dust, does. Folly, foolishness. Jolly, pleasant. So nigh, so close. Benefits, good deeds. Warp, change the form of water. Sting, snakes bite. Let's see the paraphrase of the second stanza. In the second stanza, he asks the winter, cold, to freeze the water. But although very cold water is shocking, it's less painful than a friend who forgets friendship. The behavior of a false friend could have a greater effect on man's spirits than the cold weather that could change water into ice. Now we will see extra explanation of stanza 2 so as to make it clear for you. The poet asks the winter cold wind to freeze the water. He said that although the freezing winter water is so biting, it is less painful than a thankless friend who forgets friendship. He says that most friendship is false and deceiving and loving is just foolishness. The poet invites people to come back to nature where life is so simple and pleasant. Let's see some commentary about the whole poems. The last four lines of each stanza are the same. The rhyme and the repetition of lines give music to the poem. The poem is originally a song. There is a personification. The poet speaks to the wind, asking it to blow and then to freeze. Personification also in, this is an example of personification in the poem. Thy tooth is not so keen because thou art not seen. Another example of personification in the poem. Although thy breath be rude, referring to the frosty bite of winter, which is incomparable with the deeds of the betrayal's friend. So, if you have a question about personification in the poem, you have two examples of this personification. Thy tooth is not so keen because thou art not seen. Another example, although thy breath be rude. Alteration in hey who is meant as a way of saying, oh well, let's go on with it, to show the poetic voice moving on despite the pain he has suffered from. There is also a comparison between the wind and man. Man's ingratitude and unfaithfulness are more bitter and more cruel than the wind. The theme and the rhyme scheme of the poem. The theme of that poem, the power of human relationships and bitterness of betrayal. Also, nature is being used to convey a message about human emotions and the impact of our relations and friendship. The rhyme scheme A A B C C B D D D D. The second stanza, the same rhyme scheme A A B C C B D D D D. That's all what we can say about the poem Blow Blow that's written by Shakespeare, and as I told you, it was taken from a play As You Like It. Thank you very much. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing to my channel. Till we meet again, I wish you the best of luck. Thank you.